Assalamu alaikum and good morning. It's a Monday morning.
Dreary. No, it's great because morning Baraka's here and this is going to be our last show of the season, so we'll be seeing you in the next month of Holy Ramadan, and I'm really looking forward to it. Sad as well, but
yeah, well, I'm looking forward to it too, and I'm very much looking forward to the Ramadan shows coming soon, inshallah. But today we have Sayyid Jalal in the studio with our Holy Quran recitation with ayahs from Surah Al-Tahrim.
Straight after that we have Brother Ibrahim Ansari in the couch with daily du'as and his beautiful recitations, and today is an explanation about Hadith Qasar.
We also have psychotherapist Sister Baraka dropping by to discuss the impact of social media and body image.
That'll be interesting, and I hope you will continue to stay tuned, and I'm sure it'll be informative. And today we have a healthy, simple salmon with life coach Fahima Muhammad and Sister Sana, and well, let's see how that goes down.
Yeah. We also have your fiqh questions and queries answered by our very own Sayyid Ali Nawab on the subject of pilgrimage, that's visiting the holy shrines.
MashaAllah, always an excellent topic. For competition details, please stay tuned with Brother Mustafa Khatib.
The holy city of Karbala is home to tragedies, heartbreak, as well as treasures and wonders. Millions from around the world come to this sacred city with their prayers and tears. As well as being home to Imam Hussein Media Group, it's the home and resting place of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein and his brother Abu Fadhil Abbas alayhum as-salam. Imam Hussein sacrificed his life for the sake of truth and preservation of the religion and teachings of his grandfather Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. Imam Baraka says, order our Shia to visit the shrine of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, since doing so increases sustenance, extends life, removes evil, and that visiting the grave of Imam Hussein alayhi salam is a duty upon every believer who believes in Imamate from Allah Almighty. So we invite you to come to Karbala and come to visit your Imam and perform ziyarah. Unfortunately, not everyone can come visit Imam Hussein. Not everyone has the ability or opportunity to visit regularly, and that's why Morning Baraka is giving you the opportunity to perform ziyarah from your very homes. We want you to send in your du'as and names of your loved ones so we can recite the ziyarah of Imam Hussein alayhi salam on their behalf. Maybe you have a loved one whose name you want to put forward, a marhum who would benefit, or maybe you miss Karbala and yearn to see Imam Hussein, peace and blessings be upon him. Why not send a small message or a dua for us to read here in the holy city of Karbala? Whoever's name you put, whatever dua or small message you have, the Morning Baraka team will pass it on to our team here in Karbala, and we will recite the ziyarah, read the message, and broadcast it on Imam Hussein TV3. Send in your names, du'as, and small messages to Morning Baraka at @imamhussein.tv, or messages or leave a comment on any of our social media platforms. We look forward to hearing from you, and may Allah and the Ahlul Bayt accept all of our a'mal and our ziyarah, inshallah.
Welcome back, Assalamu alaikum viewers. So now we're going to head to our daily Quran with our esteemed guest, Sayyid Jalal Masumi. Assalamu alaikum, Sayyid.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and good morning to you and to your dear viewers, inshallah.
Thank you. And you're reciting Surah Al-Tahrim, verses 10 to 12?
Yes, inshallah. These are the verses, inshallah. Today I'm going to recite.
Great, so take it away.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ضرب الله مثلا للذين للذين كفروا امرأة نوح وامرأة لوط كانتا تحت عبدين من عبادنا صالحين فخانتاهما فلم يغنيا عنهما من الله شيئا وقيل ادخلا النار مع الداخلين ضرب الله مثلا للذين كفروا امرأة نوح وامرأة لوط كانتا تحت عبدين من عبادنا صالحين فخانتاهما فلم يغنيا عنهما من الله شيئا وقيل ادخلا النار مع الداخلين وضرب الله مثلا للذين آمنوا امرأة فرعون إذ قالت رب ابن لي عندك بيتا في الجنة ونجني من فرعون وعمله ونجني من فرعون وعمله ونجني من القوم الظالمين ومريم ابنة عمران ومريم ابنة عمران
ومريم ابنة عمران التي أحصنت فرجها فنفخنا فيه من روحنا وصدقت بكلمات ربها وكتبه وكانت من القانتين ومريم ابنة عمران التي أحصنت فرجها فنفخنا فيه من روحنا وصدقت بكلمات ربها وكتبه وكانت من القانتين صدق الله العلي العظيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرج محمد وآل محمد.
Yes, many thanks to Sayyid Jalal for once again a beautiful recitation of the Holy Quran, and inshallah we'll see him in the next episodes to come, which brings us nicely onto the part of the show where we actually take a deep dive into some of the daily du'as, and coincidentally the actual name of this segment is called Daily Du'as, where we shed light on some of the supplications, the du'as and the ziyaras associated with the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, but try to find some key little takeaways that we can kind of use within our lives. And unfortunately, for the last time, I'm going to be welcoming Ibrahim Al-Ansari onto the show. Ibrahim, we've had a fantastic series with you so far.
Thank you.
And I'm sure
Zahra, good thoughts,
Zahra will definitely be able to back my statement up and say, we've had a very thought-provoking time with you.
Yeah, it's been amazing.
I learned from both of you. Jazakumullah khair.
No, please, I pray that you continue with your knowledge and sharing with us, and inshallah we will see you in the future morning shows. But for today, at least, we have a very interesting dua which you'll be going into.
In fact, instead of a dua, to change it up a little, we're going into hadith. So hadith al-kisa, many mistake it to call it a dua, whereas in fact it is actually just a narration. So it is Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari who narrates from Fatima al-Zahra, who describes her father Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he comes one day and he says, I am feeling ill. And of course the rest of the hadith is that he enters the house, she brings him a cloak, and then Imam Hussein come, then Imam Ali, Fatima al-Zahra. We can get into detail of the hadith in a second. So Hadith al-Kisa itself, it includes so many blessings, and I decided to switch it up a bit to Hadith al-Kisa, because sometimes we tend to forget that even from reading specific hadiths, we actually gain thawab just like we gain from dua. So for example, one way in which we can gain thawab is through reading the virtues of Rasulullah, through reading the virtues of Amir al-Mu'mineen. We gain thawab through that.
Yeah.
So why?
And sorry,
So no, go ahead.
Yeah.
You're in mid-sentence. Go on.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, and I chose this for the last episode because I felt like starting with Fatima to Zahra, such a great personality, I thought it was the best way to end the season with this hadith.
Right,
That's beautiful.
That is brilliant. So look, I'd actually love to start off the show with the recitation of this special part, because of course, as you mentioned, it goes on through Jabir narrating that Fatima Zahra, she saw her dad, right? She saw her father, who wasn't feeling very well, right? So she saw her father, then Imam Ali came, and the two sons came. So can you just recite us the exact part that you thought or you think is going to be spiritual and beneficial for the viewers?
So I decided to take the last part of it, where Rasulullah then talks to Amir al-Mu'mineen at the end of the hadith, and he says, فقال أبي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله يا علي والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا وفيه مهموم إلا وفرج الله همه ولا مغموم إلا وكشف الله غمه ولا طالب حاجة إلا وقضى الله حاجته فقال علي عليه السلام إذا والله فزنا وسعدنا وكذلك شيعتنا فازوا وسعدوا في الدنيا والآخرة ورب الكعبة اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Thank you so much.
So why is it this particular area that you chose to focus on?
This specific part of the hadith describes the benefits of the actual hadith, describes the rewards of the hadith. It is Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam turning to Amir al-Mu'mineen, and he swears, وَالَّذِي بَعَثَنِي بِالْحَقِّ نَبِيًّا.
Yeah.
He swears by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because the one who has sent Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam as the prophet is no one other than Allah. So he swears by Allah, and of course he adds other characteristics. وَاصْطَفَانِي بِالرِّسَالَةِ نَجِيًّا, that he chose him to convey the message. So he swears by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that if this narration, if this news is mentioned in a gathering which has a gathering of our followers, if there is someone who is mahmoom, who's stressed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will release them from their distress. Or someone who's aggrieved, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will relieve them from the grief. Or if someone has a specific request, they're promised to be granted it. So when, for example, I know there could be this issue of why always start a gathering with this, but it's because your deeds are accepted. By mentioning Ahlul Bayt alayhim afdalus salatu wa salam, by mentioning this great narration that Jabir ibn Abdullah narrates from Fatima to Zahra. And then Amir al-Mu'mineen, he replies, so after hearing this, he says, then verily, we have won. And so have our Shia, they have won too. And su'adna. Sa'ada means to be happy.
But sorry to cut you, but doesn't the hadith, does the hadith specifically say that if you recite this hadith, then Allah will relieve you of your stress and your grief and your smell? Or is he saying that if anyone comes together and remembers the Ahlul Bayt, then they have? So what is it where is it that the Prophet is referring to exactly? Is it the hadith itself?
He's referring to the hadith because he says, ما ذكر خبرنا هذا. Wherever this news is mentioned, وفيه جمع من شيعتنا. So if the news is mentioned in a gathering of our Shia, وفيهم مهموم إلا وفرج الله همه. Then it says that they will be released from the distress. They will be granted their hawa'ij. So the Prophet specifically says, ما ذكر خبرنا هذا. This news.
What's that news?
The news of the hadith. So from the very start of Fatima al-Zahra, this is how the hadith goes. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he comes in, he knocks at the door of Fatima al-Zahra, and subhanallah, the Prophet knocks on the door of Zahra whilst others decide to not knock. Anyways, he knocks on the door and she sees that he is ill. She says to him, "O father, may Allah grant you good health." And he says to her, "Bring me the cloak." There was a specific cloak that Rasulullah had left with Fatima al-Zahra. So he goes and she gives him the cloak. After a while, Imam Hussein comes in and he says to Fatima al-Zahra, he says to her, "Oh mother, I smell the scent of Rasulullah." She says to him, "Yes, he is inside under the cloak." So he goes and he takes permission from Rasulullah, "Can I join you?" He allows him. Imam Hussein does the same. Again, he smells the scent of Rasulullah and he asks for permission and he enters. Then Amir al-Mu'mineen comes. Amir al-Mu'mineen, when he comes, he also says, "I can smell the scent of Habibi Rasulullah." She says to him, "Yes, he is under the cloak with your two sons." So Amir al-Mu'mineen goes and he asks Rasulullah for permission. Once he enters, Fatima al-Zahra then comes and she asks for permission, he grants her permission. Then Rasulullah makes dua.
Okay, so within the hadith there's a dua.
There's a dua. Rasulullah makes dua for those who are under the cloak. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala looks at the angels. Ya sukkana samawati. He talks to them. ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدحية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئة ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا till the end of it. I did not create anything except for them. Except for them, which is why in previous episodes we said that we live because of Imam al-Mahdi. We live because of these infallibles. We are where we are because of the infallibles, because Allah did not create a single atom but for these great infallibles. Then Jibreel asks, "Ya Rab, woman taht al-kisa?" Who is under the cloak? He says, which we have mentioned before.
Just before you go to the cloak, there is also one important part, is not just for them, but he also says for their love as well. إِلَّا لِأَجْلِهُمْ وَمَحَبَّتِهِمْ.
Yeah, so for loving them.
Exactly.
For their love.
Yeah.
So
the reason why I say mahabbatum is because the whole word of mawadda in the Quran, people kind of misconstrue that because the verse in the Quran says, I don't ask of anything other than love for my family, my near ones.
Yes.
My close ones.
Yeah.
So this word of love, even Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is emphasizing on.
Definitely.
So it's not just I created everything for them, but it's not just for them, it's for their love as well.
Yes, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves them.
Yes.
And in many narrations we have that, for example, with Fatima al-Zahra, Allah is pleased with what she is pleased with. And He is angry with what she is angry with. So no, apologies. So then He says, Hum Fatimatu wa Abuha, which we have mentioned before, and the greatness that shows of the status of Fatima al-Zahra. Fatima wa Abuha, wa ba'luha wa banuha. And then Jibreel asks, "Oh Allah, do you allow me to go down and to be under the kisa, under the cloak?" Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "Qad adhintu lak." Like after the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Jibreel, when he comes down, he doesn't just get under the cloak, he asks Rasulullah, "Do you permit me to?" And he gives him permission. At the end of it, Imam Ali portrays how he is, they have great pleasure, how they have been granted great status, etc. Then Rasulullah says, فَقَالَ أَبِي رَسُولُ اللَّهِ يَا عَلِي, by Allah, whatever, if this news is mentioned in any gathering and there is someone who's distressed, Allah will release them from it. If someone has a need, Allah will grant them this need. Then Imam Ali replies, إِذَنْ فُزْنَا, therefore we have won. وَسُعِدْنَا, and we have attained pleasure, we have become happy. سُعِدْنَا, because happiness of this great news. وَسُعِدْنَا, إِذَنْ فُزْنَا وَسُعِدْنَا وَكَذَلِكَ شِيعَتُنَا, those who follow them, فَازُوا, and what? وَسُعِدُوا, and they became happy. فِي الدُّنْيَا وَالْآخِرَةِ, in this world and in the hereafter. And then he says a specific word which he also repeated on his death, وَرَبِّ الْكَعْبَةِ.
Interesting.
Why?
Lovely.
Because when Amir al-Mu'mineen was struck, he won by Rabb al-Kaaba. He swears by the Lord of the Kaaba that he has won.
Wow.
And therefore the winning of this specific moment is very similar to the striking of Amir al-Mu'mineen. So imagine how great this hadith is.
Fantastic.
Lovely.
Fantastic. I think there's not much more that I can really ask, but essentially, Hadith Kisa, we mentioned earlier before that usually in all gatherings, it's mentioned in the beginning. Is there a particular day that you know Hadith Kisa is meant to be recited?
Hadith al-Kisa.
Actually, sorry, just before you go into that, is there another hadith that has a similar kind of power to this?
Not one that I'm aware of. Maybe if you're aware of one, you could enlighten me on that. But not any that I have come across. Of course, you know, all the ziyaras, all the du'as are all hadith themselves. But none of them are in the sense that this is a hadith in itself. So for example, even when we come to ziyarat warith, it's a hadith. Imam Sadiq says that if you go, then say this. Whereas this, it isn't a matter of if you do something, then say this.
Yeah.
It is more narrating what happened exactly on the day.
Because Dua Kumail is quite similar as well, because Dua Kumail more or less starts off with by saying Kumail bin Ziyad heard from Imam Ali saying all the
Every dua, every ziyarah is a hadith. Dua bi Hamza al-Thamali, he heard Imam Zayn al-Abidin say this. Except that the difference is, it isn't a matter of say this or recite this. This is no. This is, I was at home, Rasulullah came, knocked on my door. It is narrating a story. So this is the only hadith that actually narrates a story and has great benefits from reading such a story. Why? Well, because we might think, what are we going to gain if we read the story? Because from this story we realize the true status of the Ma'sumin. We realize the true virtues of the Ma'sumin. And through that we assure ourselves that these are the people that we must follow.
Definitely.
Look, fantastic point. And kind of in summary, I've made many small points, but essentially the hadith of Kisa is usually known as a dua or a supplication, but in its essence it's a hadith because of what you mentioned. It's actually a story. It's narrating this person did this, came to that, went to this house, asked permission, and so on and so forth. The difference between hadith al-Kisa and a dua is that the dua is specifically what this person said, right? It doesn't have any action.
How to supplicate, or how to salute the Imam that you are visiting.
So that's the main difference between Hadith Kisa. And the other point was that it is inside it has a dua, because the Prophet, when he gathers all of his family members, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, look upon the earth, and these are the sort of the infallible five. Actually the Prophet says, by Allah's by the message that I'm giving to the people, by swearing by a lot of His attributes, this event that we are here for today, if people in the future gather and recite this event, then their afflictions and trials and tribulations may be relieved. And of course there's the other part of it as well, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives permission to Jibreel to come down and says, this is What was the specific word that he says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he's referring to Jibreel? These people are the infallible, they are Fatima.
Fatima and her father and her husband
and her children.
and her children.
Anything else you want to add to that, Zahra?
No, that's it.
I think it's been an absolute pleasure. Really, well and truly, it's been a pleasure to have you on the show.
It's my pleasure, honestly.
We've learnt a lot, and inshallah we'll see you in the series to come.
Jazakumullah khair. Thank you very much for having me. May Allah bless you and your families. And
Keep us in your du'as.
inshallah, definitely, most definitely likewise.
On that note, please join us after the break, where Zahra will be joined by Baraka Hussein for the specialist segment. So stay tuned.
Imam Hussein Media Group is a virtual university that works on a global scale to spread the true message of the Prophet and the Ahlul Bayt's peace and blessings be upon them. Imam Hussein TV was established 10 years ago in the city of Isfahan, Iran. We work to cover all aspects of religion, Islamic jurisprudence, politics, philosophy, and many more, and aim to bring the public's attention to the righteous Islamic sect, Shia Islam. Our ultimate goal as a media group is to convey the interpretations of the Holy Quran, as well as the traditions and knowledge of the Holy Prophet and his progeny. May Allah's peace and blessings be upon them. Our objectives are to protect and safeguard the Shia youth from the destructive impact of immoral ideologies, standing up against injustice by documenting the oppression of Shia across the globe, as well as encouraging peace and unity amongst the Muslims. To reach our aims and serve the Muslim Ummah, we require a budget that would cover all the expenses for our productions, allowing us to work on different projects. Imam Hussein Media Group is a crowd-funded project. We have no sales nor do we charge for our services. We solely rely on monthly payments, financial contributions, donations, religious alms, and generous gifts. The expenses of each production varies depending on the type of project and the style of filming. There are many elements to a production that requires time and capital. The producer must analyze the costs of the venue hire, equipment, transport, feature fees, set design, staff support, and further additional costs. The Holy Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him and his family, narrated, "The best of people is he from whom people benefit." It is up to you to help the Muslim Ummah come together and help guide the youth in remaining on the correct path of Islam. To take part in this global conquest and to spread the message of Imam Hussein, peace and blessings be upon him, please visit www.imamhussein3.tv or give us a call on +44 0203 515 0199. You can also contact us via WhatsApp, Telegram, SMS, or even email us on donate@imamhussein.tv. Let's work together hand in hand to elevate the faith of our Shia youth today.
Welcome back, dear viewers. We just had a wonderful recitation from Brother Ibrahim and Haditha Qasar. So now, swiftly moving on, we are going to discuss with Sister Baraka Hussein from Canada, psychotherapist, and on social media you can find her under The Muslim Counselor. We're going to have a discussion on the impact of social media and body image, and it's a topic that is fast becoming a big topic, and I think it's something that really does need to be discussed and give us a better understanding of actually what's going on. We think certain things are trends, but it does impact us on multiple levels. So join me. We're going to welcome Sister Baraka Hussein. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
How are you doing today, sister?
I'm well, yourself?
I'm good. I'm a bit sad.
Oh no.
Because it's our last...
Same here.
Yes, it's our last recording today, this morning, that we're going to be together. But inshallah, we hope to see you in the future. And thank you for the past topics. They've really been enlightening. And alhamdulillah, the feedback we've received has been really positive.
Alhamdulillah.
So we just pray that you go from strength to strength, helping our community and wider as well. It's phenomenal work that you're doing. So
bless you, sister. Thank you.
It's early morning, so I'm getting my words tied up. So today's topic, again, it's quite an interesting one. The impact of social media and on body image. And please go ahead and explain what's been going on in on social media platforms.
We see generally out there a lot of young people following big influencers, right? And I use this loosely.
Yeah.
And so these influencers are people who get products to endorse and to sell, and they get them for free. They have such a huge following that companies target these influencers, and especially in a market, let's say the hijabi Muslim, Muslim female hijabi market, where it's become a huge fashion industry.
Absolutely.
And we see how that impacts young women and men too, So let's put the Muslim factor aside here and just focus on social media in general.
Yeah.
And, there's pros and cons to it. The cons is, it could be motivational. There's a lot you could learn. You can see, follow some really great influencers in terms of, talks that they have, empowerment, lectures, mini clips, things like that. Why not? That's the positive side of it, right? Empowering and lifting and inspiring. The downside here is that you have a lot of young minds who are perhaps not mature yet, even older people, by the way, who don't have that maturity, to see that it could impact them negatively in the sense that people are competing against each other.
Right.
They're competing for followers. They're competing for likes. We have people who come into our sessions and talk about how, I don't feel good because I posted a picture the other day and I didn't get a lot of likes on it. They connect their self-worth to how many likes they get. You see already where we're going here with the themes of everything that we've been discussing so far. Self-confidence, self-esteem, worth, isolation, connection with people, the social connection. A friend of mine,
value on the likes. I mean, that's
right.
quite,
They connect their worth based on how many likes. It's an external factor, but they're basing their worth on that.
And actually, is it a true interpretation? Because you what are you portraying? I mean, I've heard of 2 deaths recently. One is of a hiker who goes on to wearing bizarre clothes, bed next to nothing, and she fell in a ravine and died. And after they found her, and somebody else recently was, I think she was on a similar height and she fell. And it's just pressing the boundaries further and further to get the likes and to say, hey, look at me. And it's so
why are we manifesting ourselves and our ego out there to be liked? It's only boosting it up even more and more, right? You really have to look at your intention of why are you posting something. And I've had a lot of people who give me flack as well sometimes. Like, what's the point of you posting this? Are you just showing the way you look, or rather is there a message behind it? And I've reflected a lot about that, and I could see how it impacts young people as well.
Does it affect you that people are perceiving it like that because your intention may not be that, but people are judging you, but then are you responsible to make them feel the way that they do just because they are looking at you in a certain angle from themselves? Is it your responsibility?
It's an interesting thing. The responsibility thing is an interesting thing, especially when you have thousands and millions of followers. In terms of, I mean, you look at. It's an interesting question how you push it back on me, right? And because I haven't really thought about in depth in terms of. I've slowed down on that. I post now just about the work that I do and the travels and where I go, and I guess that came with awareness and maturity and reflection. People like, why am I posting this? I'm proud of my hijab. I'm proud of when I wear the abaya. I'm proud of and I say pride with dignity here, right? Because there's pride ego.
Because you're representing your faith as well.
I hope, inshallah, I hope, because this for me is a direct opposite to those hijabi fashion bloggers who are out there who are putting a very negative name to what the hijab could be and misrepresenting it publicly on such a grand scale.
And almost like, I'm sorry to say, like a bimbo, because what she's reflecting here is that, we look great in makeup, we look great in clothes. And, anybody who dresses,
of modesty. Now, let's take this back to mental health and the
But what I was going to say
impact.
in relation to you is that, you're a young, educated woman who's honoring her hijab in an Islamic way. And then it's for showing that actually you can do, you have a good role model there that is for our young, females that are going to be looking
Inshallah,
at.
I hope so, because unfortunately there are not that many.
Yeah.
We have those who are fashioning the turbans and are calling themselves educated scholars and representing Islam. And this is not a judgment call. This is fact.
Yeah.
This is fact when it comes to what is the hijab supposed to be. Again, that's a whole other discussion, but let's just take the core here in terms of the definition of what hijab is in modesty and full coverage, right? And it's been open to interpretation rather for people to what we see out there. Now let's take this back, all of the background that we've discussed here, and take it back to mental health and the impact on the self and the psychological effects of that. Because we see these young girls in our communities now who are looking up to these fashion bloggers out there and following them.
And is this a new experience through your travels and talking to youngsters?
Absolutely.
That they are saying these
They're
things,
saying,
right?
we're seeing this, right? We're seeing this in our sessions as well, and seeing them with families, and parents are terrified of their daughters doing this. And we see this in social media where a famous hijabi, I use it loosely here, fashion hijabi influencer decides to take off her hijab, for example. And how does that impact these young girls who were so deeply influenced by her fashion trends to begin with, right? How does it impact the self of that young woman who says, well, I used to follow this person because I liked her hijab. Now it's no longer there. Who am I? What am I? It's because they closely identify themselves to them without recognizing that they have their own identity. They do not, how much of themselves do they have to sacrifice in order to fit into Western culture in terms of what is acceptable, right? Like if you were to walk into a fashion store right now, the way that you were dressed, you are going to get looks. You and I both know that. However,
the wrong looks.
However, what if you were to go in there with the confidence?
Absolutely.
It's how you present yourself, and we need to nurture our young ones out there in terms of recognizing that, rather than following blindly somebody who has millions of thousands of followers and who's getting all these products and showing you the high life. The other side, so I just want to finish this point. The other side of social media and what it portrays out there, and you mentioned it, how much of it is it really true? You were envious of this person who seems to have the perfect husband, the perfect house, the perfect children, the perfect job, the perfect skin, the perfect makeup or hijab or whatever it is that they are selling you or showing you. How much of it is really true? When inside, and I've actually spoken to some of these people, they are miserable. They're dealing with mental health issues themselves, and they're putting on a front to the world. How much are these young people being influenced by that fake lifestyle that is being put out there?
And it's putting it out there and making people feel even worse about themselves. But what I was going to ask you is, in terms of how people, so you've spoken about identity, self-identity, and then how it impacts our self-confidence as women. And I'm a firm believer, as I said, we need role models, and we have one. I have a guest here, yourself, that you are educated, you've got good hijab, you're confident, and that gives you the inspiration to say, you know what, accept me for what I am. This is my identity.
No, I don't go looking for acceptance.
Okay.
I don't look for acceptance.
But people will accept you, because if you go
based on how I present myself,
exactly.
I hope. But I don't go looking for acceptance.
But you've accepted yourself, haven't you? You said, this is me. I am
inshallah, me. Inshallah. But it's a constant work and development.
But people that put their hope and sort of, their identity with other people, then they will not feel the way that they dress. This hijab is relevant to my mother's generation. It's not really what I want. I want to look like this cool chick who's got the flashy glasses and the bright colors.
The convertible hijab and the tight clothes and whatnot.
And whatever it is. And she's trying to portray that as her identity. But then, like you said, how much of yourself are you going to be giving? And it's really, so what I wanted to know is how much of that comes from sort of a mental health perspective versus identity as well, or is it all the same, comes from the same?
They're all interconnected. It comes down to worth, self-esteem. It comes down to what did this young person, male or female, experience growing up with the people around them, because they all want to fit in. They all have the latest gadgets. They all want to have the latest fashion, item and whatnot to be accepted. This is my point. You don't have to work to please other people, because I see people struggling with depression because they're constantly trying to please other people, right? And this has a huge impact on them, social media. They want to be like these people. Last night at the lecture at Stanmore, we were having a discussion on the impact of social media, again, on young people. And the Sheikh was talking about how he had these two young people, a boy and a girl, say, when I want to grow up, I want to be a YouTube celebrity because I want to get paid to play video games all day.
Wow.
And another girl said, I want to be a WOG. First time I ever hear that expression. Wife or girlfriend of a football player.
Oh, right.
And so because she sees these
it's
celebrities
a wag in
online,
British accent.
Wag, sorry, I said it.
In Canadian, it's fine.
British accent. So you see the influence there on these young minds. Now, my question is, how were you influenced with this? Where did you get access to this? It starts very young when the parents throw the phone to shut up, excuse my expression, their crying child and keep them busy. Do they not going to find these apps, or are they not going to go and find what's out there?
Can I ask you then, in our community, so we were having these discussions about well-known people that recite and taking on the role, because of the social media era, a role in a religious context of being celebrities so that people look up to them, and then certain barriers can be crossed. Do you think that's a positive move, or do you think it may be harmful, detrimental in the future if we start having positive role models, but then they make commercializing their efforts within, whether they're reciting, whether suddenly we have a brand name called Baraka Hussein.
Dear Lord, please let's not go
so
there.
I'm just giving an example. At what point do we cut back because our identities as we want to have for positive role model, but is it because...
I think it comes down to intention. Why are you doing that? What's your point of doing that? Are you doing it to get more money? Are you doing it to get more attention from people? Or are you truly doing it for, saying, hey, there's not enough of this, we need more of this? Or you're just being yourself. You're just being, like, I'm just doing the work that I'm doing and I believe in it and I promote mental health with the events that I'm doing. There are some things I have beef about, which I will talk about because of the social issues in our communities, in our centers.
Because you have a right to that opinion, because this is what you're experiencing. I mean, I couldn't just pull it out of a hat and say, well, actually, I think it's this, because it's an opinion based on...
I'm seeing it based on what I'm seeing in my office and what I'm seeing with the social problems and the clients.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make me better than anybody else. No, it's
more
just
informed, isn't it?
And I can choose not to share it. I mean, that's just the thing. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, and sometimes I get flack. Well, why did you say that? Why did you do that?
But it's important too. I think what worries me is that often parents, especially in the generations that we are, where social media is just going on such a an accelerated rate that we don't even know what the apps are that children are on.
Absolutely.
And if parents are not aware, and whether they weren't aware when we were kids of what we were doing after school, in between getting to school to home, to whether they have phones, we need to be aware of what the threats are out there, because often, as we say to children, and I've always said that to my children raising them, it's not you that I don't trust, you just don't know what society.
Exactly.
So in terms of that, I mean, absolutely what you're saying, the impact is there. But I mean, any last words you'd like to say about what really gets to you? Because these are words that need to be said, and I just think, it's interesting to hear.
What really gets to me in a personal, professional way is the fashion vloggers out there who are, showing this as modest hijab when you're really impacting young minds in terms of what is appropriate modesty, right?
Yeah.
And so they grow up thinking this is okay, so from an Islamic perspective, right? But then when we look at the psychological perspective, it is destroying them in the sense, because they have to fit a certain image to be accepted by men as a potential wife, right?
Yeah.
And especially when we talk about body image, and we talked about disordered eating before, when we take a look at, the images that you see out there of how women should be looking like, how does that impact a woman who doesn't necessarily have what these women have, right? And these young girls look at themselves, compare themselves, and again, putting aside the Islamic identity here, just in general, when we look at a beautiful, image of, God knows how many times this person took that picture to get that perfect shot.
Yeah.
And we've heard, by the way, vloggers crying and screaming and getting off social media, saying how depressing it is having that pressure on them, right? So these young minds are developing, they're so soft and tender and taking this all in as, this is how you should be, this is how you should act, this is where my heart breaks for them. Because I'm like, no. You are your own beautiful identity. Let's add the hijab back on here. You are your own beautiful hijabi. You have your own beauty and your modesty. Don't feel that you have to change and compromise to fit in and follow. You are not a follower. You are a leader by yourself with how you love and respect this crown on your head. Respect it and it will respect you back.
Definitely.
Respect yourself, you will give that love back to yourself.
Oh, it's a fantastic note to finish on. Thank you so much.
Bless you.
We are out of time, and I'm going to share a story with the viewers, because in my mug is not a cup of tea or water. It's a fruit berry smoothie, which you probably will see in the supermarkets, and I never touch them because I think, you always hear about high sugar. So Sister Baraka Hussein has converted us. We are donut eaters in the studio.
Here it is.
Oh, we're not. And We
This
actually
is my power drink.
It's good. It's good.
I've been
definitely woke me up.
I've been criticized that it has so much sugar, but if you look at it, it's only fruits and vegetables.
Yeah,
it's
so
great stuff.
Great stuff. So thank you so much. We have learnt so much from you in the last few weeks, and inshallah, we hope that you will join us again in future seasons.
My pleasure, inshallah.
If Allah gives us the tawfiq, inshallah, to be back here. But thank you so much.
And thank you too, and I can't thank you in the channel enough for realizing how important it is to explore these topics in detail and get people engaged and opening up and inshallah utilizing the resources that you have here. And I can't stress enough, sorry for the pun there, the Muslim Youth Helpline here that you have, the amazing program at Stanmore with Sister Farzana called Inspirational Minds. Please use, you have these resources, and they're Muslim resources. Absolutely. Use what you have to get the help. Don't feel that you have to suffer in silence.
And definitely last wise words. If you'd like to contact Sister Baraka Hussein, follow her. She's the Muslim counselor, that's right.
Not for likes, okay, not for likes.
Yeah, not for likes.
Knowledge, inshallah, for sharing resources and events.
It's actually a very interesting point, isn't it? Of always questioning why you're posting something. Is it for knowledge, for sharing? And again, it's not really for people. We shouldn't judge others why they're posting. I think that's a bad akhlaq from ourselves
because
that we make.
We don't know
because we don't know
on.
The other person's intention, so we should never really question. So many excuses. So inshallah, you're doing a great job, and you continue to do a great job. Take care. Inshallah, we will be now joining Sister Fahima and Sister Sana for a simple salmon. I don't know what they're doing with it. Let's have a look.
Thank you, Zahra. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Morning Baraka, Health and Nutrition. We're here with another delicious recipe from Sana. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
How are you?
Good, thank you. Nice to see you again.
I can smell and I can see some lovely ingredients.
Yes.
And I don't normally have fish, which is really, really bad. So tell me about it.
So I'm going to make a really simple salmon that you can have on its own, with vegetables, with bread, whatever you want.
Okay.
And I'm just going to be using some lemon, some garlic, onions, and some olive oil and salt and pepper. So very simple.
I know with fish generally you don't need that much ingredients
exactly
to actually, you know, taste the real texture and the real flavors of the fish. I know in certain cultures and backgrounds they do put a lot of sauce or a lot of other things, which can work as well.
Yeah.
And the way in which you cook it can differ.
Exactly.
So tell me how you're going to be preparing it today.
So I'm going to be doing something really simple. First of all, I kind of pierce the salmon just because when I season it, I want everything to go in all the way through.
I always forget to do that.
Exactly. So the next step I'm going to do is the lemon. So for this amount, I would probably say this should be sufficient enough. So I would just kind of squeeze it all the way along.
We know that fish is very healthy for us. It has a lot of fatty acids, omega-3, and we know that in the Mediterranean as well as in the Far East, they have a lot of fish, more than what we do traditionally.
Exactly.
We have more meat, rice, but the fish is so good and healthy for your skin, for your hair.
Yes.
And it actually, you can see the shine on some people's hair because of the amount, you know, that they have in their diet.
Exactly.
So that's how relevant this really is. It's so healthy for you.
And a lot of the Chinese will eat this a lot, and research have suggested that it actually improves your IQ.
Absolutely.
And so a lot of the time,
the brain function.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Yes. No, it's really, really healthy. And I know this is a tricky one for all of us to have that taste for fish.
Exactly.
But there's so many different types of fish that you can actually experiment with. This is one of the most common ones.
Yes.
And it does have, you know, a flavor that you may not like. But again, you can cook it in a particular way where you can fry it.
Exactly.
You can actually even marinate it and probably put it in the oven.
Exactly. You can just leave it on the stove.
You can leave it on the stove in the pan and cook it. And so there's many ways of doing it. And I like the fried fish actually. Or if you were to put it in the oven, to open the foil afterwards.
Yes.
And let it just sort of like,
kind of it kind of steams in the foil if you do put it in the
but it still stays soft.
Exactly.
But then to sort of like, char it a little bit.
And with salmon, you want to be careful that you don't overcook it, because once you overcook it, it becomes a bit kind of rubbery.
That's the thing. I always don't know how to gauge when it's cooked and how long to cook it for. So can you explain how would you do this?
So with this one, I would put it in the oven for about 15 to 20 minutes.
Okay, so that's about right that I'm doing it then.
Yes.
Okay.
So around about 108, between 170 to 180 degrees.
So medium heat.
Exactly. And what I would do is after the first 10 minutes, I would just have a look at it, because what you want to find is that it's still slightly pink, but it's not completely dark pink, because when it goes dark, that means you've overcooked it, and then
that's
it can
the thing.
Come a bit dry when you're eating it.
Yes, yes.
So as long as you're mindful of that, then inshallah, hopefully you should have the perfect, salmon.
And also, this combination is very, very common, having the lemon and garlic with salmon, because it's really simple and easy, and it actually has the best flavors. That's a base. Even if you want to add to it, a lot of the times we just normally just add that to it. So it's really, really good. And it's a very good source of protein.
The garlic is good for the immune system as well.
Yes.
So, it's really great during the winter colds, for children as well.
I know that personally, I don't really like the taste of garlic even after it's cooked. So another option to the fresh garlic is to actually buy the paste.
Yes, you could do the paste, and you can grate it as well.
So it's really, really small and tiny.
Exactly.
It's fresh.
And you can even just leave it whole,
so you can just take it out.
Put it whole in the salmon. And so for those who would like it, they would take it out, and it will be really soft and cooked, and it will become like a paste.
Okay.
And then you can have it.
Of course, because garlic after a while it's very, very soft when it's cooked. Yeah.
It will be really soft. Or if you prefer it like this, you can literally just have it like this.
And just
exactly. And it will be like roasted garlic.
Oh yes, of course.
So right now, all I've done is put the lemon. I've put a teaspoon of salt. I would say to kind of rub the salt in to make sure, and even just turn it around to make sure the whole area is covered.
Just before you even buy this, like you preparing it, you do have to scrape the scales, because not every time when you buy fish, unless when you go into a proper fish market, you might ask them to do it, they'll do it for you.
Yes, yeah.
But in most stores, you do have to descale it.
Exactly, and like you said, if you go to buy it from the store where there's a butcher, just ask them to do it.
They do it for you.
You might as well ask them, unless you enjoy doing it, it's fine.
I don't know if anyone's going to enjoy that.
But to save time, just ask them to do it, because sometimes it can be a bit tricky, and
of course, and it goes everywhere. Yes, that's true.
It gets everywhere. Yeah. So if you're buying it from,
and it's slippery. And you can actually, because it's so soft, you don't want to break it before you even cook it.
Exactly, yes, exactly. So now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to slice some onion. So like little rings of onion.
Okay. And that also cooks, and it gets really soft, and you can just throw that on top. In fact, it's so versatile. You can use whatever you want with it.
Yeah, you can use whatever you want.
I mean, it is recommended to have fish at least once a week, but actually more is much better for you.
Exactly, yes.
And you can have it even alongside your main meal, because personally, it does not fill me up.
Yeah.
But obviously, if you're going to have it with pasta or rice or anything. But still, like, I'm really used to having, like, traditionally we always have a lot of meat and chicken and rice. So, for me, that's filling food.
And for diets, it's really good as well.
Yeah.
Because if you want to have like less carbohydrates in your food, this will fill you up with salad. So if you have this with salad on the side, you will find that quite a good fulfilling meal. And it's not as fattening as perhaps if you were to have like bread or pasta with it. So reducing the carbohydrates and having kind of just the protein on its own.
And the Ahlul Bayt also reminds us that if we're having fish, to have something sweet afterwards, to sort of remove anything of the negativity that comes from any of the dishes that we have, so especially with the fish. So we need to, we try to sort of, do what we know traditionally from the best of the teachers and how they used to do things. And again, like I always mention, it's not just about the daily prayers, it's how you live daily, how you eat, what you consume, the way in which you consume, and having these traditions also that reminds us as to how to actually eat properly, so that we get the best out of it and take away whatever is bad away from us.
Yes.
This is one way of reminding ourselves.
Exactly, and also some children can be a bit fussy with fish. So try and find the right style or technique of making it for your children that they will like at home. So they might not like it with the onions and everything. They might just like it with some tomato puree.
Well, just reminds me even, because I remember another person recommended to, especially for children, you can actually sort of, instead of all of that, and because the lemon's quite strong and overpowering, and not everyone likes that sort of soury taste, is to actually sprinkle some brown sugar.
Yeah.
So then that can give it a sort of a different taste to it, which could be a little bit more palatable for children.
Yeah.
And do you normally have the skin of the fish?
I do, because I like it, especially when it's nice and crispy at the end.
Yeah.
But I mean,
if you're grilling it or something.
Exactly,
yeah.
And if you're frying it as well.
Oh yes, of course.
If you do fry it, but in the oven, if you just put, so I'm going to drizzle some olive oil on it because it does have natural oils already, the fish. So you don't really need that much.
No, you don't.
But I do like the natural kind of olive oil taste.
And it keeps it kind of moist, even more so. And obviously, if you've taken it out, then not all of it is going to be taken out. Some of it's dropped anyways.
Exactly. So this literally just goes into the oven for about 15 to 20 minutes, like I had said.
Such a quick meal.
So simple.
Such a quick meal.
It doesn't require anything. So
what do you normally have alongside it, though?
So at home, I would have rice with it.
Just plain rice?
Just plain rice with salad.
Okay. Oh, yeah. And some of the salads that we've used in the previous episodes could actually work really well with this.
So the previous episodes we had done with the beetroot and the onion, that would really complement this with the onion.
And the grilled peppers as well. That could really work.
So it's something you can explore lots of different things to put aside it. I know some people just have it on its own. So if you want just to have the benefit of the fish, you can just have it on its own.
Okay,
so
perfect.
But after, I mean, you can decorate it how you want. If you're having guests, if you have a big fillet,
oh yes,
you may want to, make it look more prettier with the slicing. Maybe slice some tomatoes on top of there, as well as the onion. So really experiment and find different ways. This is just really quick and easy.
So when you're putting it in the oven, do you cover it?
I don't actually.
Oh, you don't?
No, I don't.
So you just leave it like that for 20 minutes?
I leave it. So I will put foil underneath.
Right.
And I will leave it for about 15 to 20 minutes. Okay. And if you feel that the outer bit has gone too brown, but the inside is still not cooked, then I would advise to cover it so that just
depending on your oven how it cooks.
Exactly.
Yeah, fair enough.
So the inside can cook without it burning anything on the top.
Okay.
So yeah, apart from that, that's quick and easy, very simple. We can all kind of do that at home in a matter of how long, like 5 minutes? Did that take?
Oh, very, very quick.
And after that, I'll just move this away to show you the end product.
Oh, right, my favourite part.
Yes. So this is something we had made earlier.
Wow.
So I've put it aside.
That looks so beautiful. I love the fact that the green just really stands out from there as well. I mean, I like broccoli, not everybody does, so you can definitely alternate the vegetables according to your own personal taste. So,
and you can try it. I mean, it's got lots of garlic in there.
Lovely.
As well as the lemon and the salt, and
I'll take a bit of that with it.
And like you said, you can mix up. You can put just cauliflower if you want, cauliflower and broccoli. Just salad on its own, rice, or even the Turkish bulgur, which is like really tasty. And
that's cooked beautiful, by the way. It's perfect.
Yeah, it's not
really,
too overcooked.
No, that's perfect. So the timing that you mentioned, that is really nice, and it's not too hard. You can tell it's not overcooked.
That's what you want, because
perfect.
The worst thing is when you put it in the oven and you've gone through all of that work of doing it, and then it's just a bit well done. It could be an extra 1 or 2 minutes that would make
it a big difference. Sorry, I can't stop eating, but I have to now.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
No, it's lovely. Thank you.
The viewers will be able to.
No, of course. So, was there anything else that you would recommend to add to that?
No, I mean, sometimes I would say you could put tomato puree with the garlic and the onions and the turmeric and the paprika. Even cumin you can add in there.
Yes, there's different spice that you can definitely do.
So many. There are ways that the Asians marinate their fish.
That's true. It's very different.
In Morocco, we have a way where we blend the parsley, coriander with the garlic. And
oh, yes, of course, like a paste, and you just rub it on.
Yes, and we will dip it in flour and then fry it.
Do you think even marinating overnight makes a difference to the fish? Yeah, I was going to say, because you do that for meat and chicken, so you can imagine it makes such a difference.
If you've got time and you remember, then I would definitely, if you know you're going to make it the night before, then I would recommend that you do marinate it, because you can never marinate it for too long.
I was just going to say also, we need to be careful with fish and meat and things like that, not to keep it open for too long.
Exactly.
And what about once it's cooked? you know, how long would you eat it for? More than a day or two?
So for me at home, what I tend to do is if it's not finished, I could leave it in the fridge for about 2 to 3 days.
That's quite long.
Yeah,
so it's fine.
Maximum I would leave it. Obviously, I would research a bit more into that, whether that, you know, if there are longer days, because I know some people may keep it in there for up to a week. Because
I wouldn't. Yeah, normally
I wouldn't.
It wouldn't last in my fridge, but
exactly.
it's fine.
Same in my fridge. To be honest.
But just for the, you know, just general information, we need to obviously be aware of the health and you know, the benefits of, you know, keeping it even after being cooked, because you think that it's cooked, it's fine, but actually no. And especially with rice, you know, even once it's cooked, you need to put it in the fridge straight away, even if it's slightly warm, because it does increase in bacteria a lot. So these are a lot of things that we need to worry about with, you know, comes to different foods.
Exactly. And also you can mix up, you don't necessarily have to use salmon, you can use prawns, you can use the same type of flavours.
Yes,
you know, and marinate it with the same seasoning and everything.
Of course.
It will still complement the fish, because a lot of fish, the same flavours will complement it.
Absolutely.
You can use dill as well. Dill is very good with fish.
It is very good.
And just like I said, experiment. Go and have a look. Read into different things that you can use. I don't think there's any wrong way of making it.
No, absolutely
so
not. It's just, you know,
tailor it to your own taste and what your
Absolutely.
family, your home would like.
Well, thank you once again for a delicious meal and lots of insight and awareness, and I hope the audience really benefited from this. I know these are very simple, but it's very, you know, traditional, and we can use it in our cultures, we can use it with our families, in our homes, and we can make, you know, really healthy foods, very simple and easy to use in your home, and you can actually live much better, much more, you know, healthier lives, knowing that we've got all these nutrients within us from these ingredients. So thank you so much for watching. Inshallah, we'll see you next time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Over to you, Zahra and Ali.
نه قوت در کمر دارم ابوالفضل علم دارم.
The hadith is sharif Ma'soom Imam al-Sajjad, he says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given my uncle Abbas a maqam such that on the day of judgment all the shuhada and the siddiqeen will wish they had the maqam of Abul Fadhil. And the Imam did not leave an exception for anyone within the kawn. The exception that we know is Ahlul Bayt through Ahkam Aqli.
And for the last time, we also welcome our esteemed guest, Sayyid Ali Nawab, who has delightfully gone through a number of key issues and topics that most of our society members kind of don't really speak about, or they brush under the rug, so to speak. And so, for the last time, Assalamu alaikum, Sayyidina, how are you?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. And I certainly did enjoy being present in the studio of Morning Baraka. And inshallah, as I say, inshallah, it won't be the last to appear on set with you, good individuals.
Inshallah. Sarah, do you want to introduce what we're going to speak about
today?
Yeah,
so we were sort of speaking another morning about ziyarah, and it's been something that we're blessed with in our lifetime. I know that my, may Allah bless my mother's soul, was one really desperate to go to visit Imam Hussein alayhi salam, but she couldn't because of the political climate then. So she went to other places, but now in our lifetime we're blessed to be able to visit ziyarah, Iraq, Iran, etc. And that's really where it's taken off, hasn't it, the last decade or so, with lots of groups coming up and taking. So really to give an insight to our viewers about the rewards from a fiqh perspective of going for ziyarah, of attending. Are we just going on a physical, you know, perhaps elaborate on how it benefits us? Why are we going?
Ahsantum. The rewards for visiting Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, the first thing we should know is that when we are visiting Ahlul Bayt, visiting the shrines, the burial sites, it's as if we are visiting them whilst they were alive. So the fact that we are visiting Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam in our lifetime, there is a reward and there is a benefit for us that they will visit us in the most sensitive situations, that we are in dire need of someone to come and save us and visit us. The first being in the most loneliest time of our life, which is the first night of Qabr.
Qabr, yeah.
And this is speaking about the start of the hereafter, the start of the life after this world. But regardless of that, inshallah, we'll come to discuss that situation. But the rewards in our lifetimes is that we will benefit financially. The first reward, or the most important reward, is that when people visit Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, and specifically Imam Hussein alayhi salam, the riwayah says ziyadatan fil rizq, or barakatan fil rizq. Anyone that visits Imam Hussein alayhi salam, the first reward they will get is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will increase in their financial benefit.
Wow.
Their costs will be taken care of, and I've actually experienced this myself. Is for times I long to go to visit Imam Hussein alayhi salam, myself and my family. But at times we see that the ticket prices are very high. So I used to borrow money. And Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam say that if you want to visit Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, Imam Hussein or anyone from the Ahlul Bayt, even if it means that you borrow money.
Wow.
Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as a result of you visiting that great Imam,
before
you go back to your home, Allah will have sorted out that financial situation for
and
you.
It does happen.
And it does happen.
Amazing.
It does happen. So the financial reward to that, and the fact that ziyadatan fi as-sihhati wal afiyah, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as a result of the blessing of visiting that holy person, that Imam, if he was someone who is experiencing ill health, physically, emotionally, mentally, we are always advised to go and visit Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. And we see many examples, not only Ahlul Bayt, but the children of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, once they go and visit and seek Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and seek Allah's nearness as a result of that holy person that they are visiting, that holy person will do shafa'ah. They have a position next to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they will reward.
In Qom, just outside the shrine of Musa Baraka, it's such a beautiful shrine. So when people dedicate, so whether the children of Ahlul Bayt or whether they are their companions, they have a maqam with God, don't they? So when you visit their shrines, is it again what you said, that they have a position that they can?
Yes, because these individuals, they dedicated their life solely for the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They endured many difficulties, they endured and they faced many problems. They were individuals who were attacked from left, right and center. They were forced to abandon their homes and their habitat for the sake of propagating the message of Ahlul Bayt, or sometimes for not even speaking out, for being from the lineage of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. They were attacked and they were forced, or they faced the fear of prosecution. So Allah has rewarded them. The fact that you lived life and you did not hold back from propagating for my message, I will reward you in the hereafter, or when you are outside this world. I will reward anyone that visits you with certain benefits. So we know that, for example, a young man who wants to get married, we are told they should go and visit Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam. Because Imam al-Jawad was a young man. And he helps Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, say anyone that has difficulties in finding a good wife, a spouse, they should go and visit Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam.
There you go. Viewers, if you have difficulty, you know where to head. I have a question, but I don't know if you do.
I was going to say in terms of like seasonal times for ziyarah, because a lot of us actually go when it's Arba'een or Sha'baniyah or Muharram, for example. Is there an importance given to going certain times of the year? Because from my personal experience, I feel like Arba'een, Sha'baniyah and Muharram, Karbala is quite a small city. But the miracle is that although it is such a small city, it can house millions and millions of visitors. And I feel like really getting the true ziyarah experience when I actually have a close proximity with the shrines, and being able to walk freely within the city to really take in the atmosphere and the sights. I feel like off season is probably better. Well, is there a recommendation? I know it's recommended to go during times like Arba'in and Sha'baniyah, but is there a better time to go?
Well, going back to the riwayat which talk about the ziyarah of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, the general rule is visit Ahlul Bayt, whether it was in a specific occasion or not. The fact that you do not neglect the right of that Imam, because one of the rights of the Ahlul Bayt alayhi upon us is that we visit them regularly.
Wow.
In the case of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, the riwayah says, do not be amongst individuals who neglect the right of Imam Hussein by not visiting him. If you are not able to visit him on a daily basis, visit him every 2 days. This is the riwayah. If you are not able to visit Imam Hussein every 2 days, visit him weekly. And then it says every 2 weeks, every month. And then the riwayah says, make sure you do not leave the visitation of Imam Hussein alayhi salam at least once a year. Wow. This is ad'af al-iman. This is the lowest of iman. Wow. Because Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, they also they get upset if they see that their lovers and their muhibbeen have neglected the visitation. Not because they are in need of that visit, it's because you will receive the benefit.
Absolutely.
And Ahlul Bayt, they like to see their muhibbeen.
They do.
The fact that I go and stand in front of the shrine of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, or Amirul Mu'mineen salawatullahi alayhi, or Imam al-Rida, I am so excited to be there. Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, they will be pleased to see us over there as well.
But it's interesting you said that, because this Arba'in, obviously we went for a very short period, a week, and usually it's like 2 weeks. So, and I said, when I was at the shrine there, I said, please Imam Hussein, call me back when it's a quieter time so I have more time with you. Because I couldn't go. I actually have claustrophobia now because of the crowds. But you need both, don't you? You need to go in the important times. There's a lot of blessing with the ummah, but you need that time on your own as well. But I have one final question. I don't know if we have time after this, if you have any more. But the question I wanted to ask is actually Baqi. So you mentioned that Imam Raza in his loneliness asked, visit me. And nowadays we have the ability and the facilities, resources, flights. It's so easy to get to Mashhad now for us, and alhamdulillah we get to visit. But Baqi is somewhere, it's not somewhere we can easily, or we're welcome to visit. But what's our responsibility in this day and age to visit the Imams, 4 Imams, Lady Fatima Salam Alayha, the Holy Prophet?
Rule with regards with all Ahlul Bayt generally, and specifically Ahlul Bayt in Baqi and Medina, is that their burial sites and their holy shrines should not be left empty. There shouldn't be the sense that no one is visiting them. It is part of our own ritual and part of our belief that we, the Shia of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, have always shown our love and support to Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. But for unforeseen circumstances and situations, and for situations where we cannot change immediately, but we can remind people and speak out, and in the case of Baqi', we should always remind ourselves and remind the Western societies of this dhulama, of this oppression that has befallen and is continued upon the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam in Baqi', is that it is our right. It is the right of a human being, of a free human, to be able to visit the people that he loves, the people that he follows. And unfortunate that we cannot be there when we like, or even if there are individuals who go for the pilgrimage, for the Hajj, that they are gradually, year by year, they are being forced to move away. And they close the gates and they don't allow anyone to enter the cemetery, which is a very un-Islamic practice. Let alone, it's not an un-Islamic practice. Ethically, it's not right. Ethically, it's not right for you to prevent someone to go to the cemetery and visit their beloved, let alone them visiting their leader, their role model. So because it's not as we like to visit them whenever we see fit, we are always advised to visit them from far away on a regular basis.
If we can financially perform Umrah, and I know, having discussions with quite people, that they say, I don't feel welcome there. Yes, there are the Imams there, but I'd rather go where, in Iraq we're welcome, there's your own people, your own belief. Why should I go to Baqi'?
Would you not want to support Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam? They themselves are not welcome to be there. But would you not want to endure some of that oppression?
Yeah. Beautifully said.
There are some individuals who came to Imam al-Hadi, because Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam used to pay individuals to go and visit Imam Hussein very quickly. I know we ran out of time, but they used to say, Imam al-Hadi al-Mutawakkil is killing people to visit your grandfather Imam Hussein, is cutting limbs.
Yeah.
Imam al-Hadi said, even though go, ألا تحب أن يراك الله فينا خائفا? Do you not like to see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you are feeling afraid because of us, because of visiting us? Because Allah will reward you to an extent that you cannot understand and believe, that I will receive such amount of reward when I visit Ahlul Bayt in that state of emotion and fear.
MashaAllah. May Allah bless us with the ziyarah of all the Muslims. Inshallah. Thank you so much. That was
really, thank you very much for your time, Sayyid.
I would like to thank you and thank Imam Hussein TV and specifically Morning Baraka for having me this season. And inshallah, we have another opportunity to sit down and discuss more important issues.
You've brightened our mornings. Thank you with your wisdom and knowledge. Thank you so much.
It's a great way to end the episode and unfortunately to end the series as well, because we're going to be drawing Morning Baraka to a close for this series. We will be back. When, we're not sure, but we'll hopefully we'll let you know. But most likely it's going to be Ramadan. So we're going to be on your screens. Morning Baraka will be
early morning,
very, very soon, inshallah.
It's coming quickly, isn't it?
It is.
It's not that far off.
It isn't. I've had a pleasure speaking to you all. I've had a pleasure speaking to the many guests as well. I'm sure Zahra has as well. Any last thoughts, Zahra, before we draw it to a close?
Hope we've benefited you and you keep us in your du'as, inshallah.
Inshallah. And for the last time, wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.